Good afternoon. What I am attempting to do, and I'm doing this for a previous customer, an eBay customer that purchased either a Green Machine or Green Machine parts, and he's in the process of converting it from a 38-357, which was the favorite flavor that those things were built and sold in, to a 44 Magnum. And he's bought some real 44 Magnum parts, but now he's getting down to where he needs the bullet drop tube, the floating piece. And I happen to have a 357, a 38-357. And the internal ID on those in that caliber was about 343 to 344 thousandths. And what we're shooting for in the one that I already have chucked up in here is about 430 to 431. The bullets are 429, and these things are hardened, and my carbide is kind of limited, but I am lucky enough to have this step carbide bit. The part I needed wasn't long enough to drill all the way through without hitting the shoulder, so I had to, of course, reverse the part. And that got me within about 40 thousandths. So now what I'm doing, I like to use carbide end mills, and I think you can see that one coming into play. And I set the flutes across sideways and set the whole tooling at about 4 to 5 degrees angle to have clearance. And then without the unit running, I just work it in and out and raise and lower the Aloris tool post and use the compound to go in and out, and etc. until I get it to where it will go through with the tip touching, but the back shoulder, of course, not rubbing. So right now I've got this thing, I don't know, within 6 or 7 thousandths. So anyway, this is a way you can, if you got a lathe. I'm not sure how you would do it if you didn't have a lathe and some carbide, but other viewers out there might know. Thank you. Right now I'm taking a measurement with one of my Starrett small ID bore tools. And you might be able to see that, or maybe not. It's at about 422.5 to 423. And so I'm shooting for 430 or somewhere in that vicinity. Now I'm going to run the lathe rather fast because I'm shooting for a fairly nice finish. This is about a 2/1000th of an inch cut, or maybe not. I probably bumped the cross feed setting up the camera. Alright, we're going to do a spring cut back through. And what I may try to do is, I don't really have an abrasive hone this small, but once in a while, just to put a nice smooth finish, I will use diamond compound and a hard felt. Alright, I have a couple more thousandths to go, and I won't bore you with this video on all that. So thanks for watching. Okay, what we're up to now is the throat. The top part of this piece, where you drop your bullet in, has a taper on it. And we're enlarging that taper from what it was for the 357 Magnum up to the 44 Magnum. And we're just doing it a few thousandths at a time. Once again, we're using a carbide end mill, but I don't have the luxury of having a 2-flute, so it's harder to set up the 4-flute because it wants to bottom out or hit the top. So anyway, we're gonna do a couple thousandths at a time here because we've got a lot of this 1/4-inch piece hanging out. And I tell you, a nice sharp end mill for doing ID boring works just as well as anything else I've ever found. In fact, there's some company out in Dallas that takes old ones and regrinds them and makes some of the prettiest inside boring bars you've ever seen. Quite reasonable. Okay, I'm going to get back off the camera and take a close look at this and see about where we're at. Thanks for watching. We're now giving the inside of this thing a little bit of a polishing and using a green Crayex wheel. They do a pretty good job for... I use them to throat 45s and polish the ramps and that type stuff. But well, you know, I say I do. I guess when you get old, you kind of live in the past because I don't do it anymore, getting too old. But this is what I used to use. And that's about it for this side. Now we got to turn it around in the lathe. And we got to make sure that there's enough flare on the other end to cover the 44 Magnum case, like a reverse funnel. Okay, now we're on the flip side, doing the reverse cone. I'm going to take just a few thousandths out of here to give it a hair more clearance. Okay, I think we're going to call that, and then we'll go ahead and polish this with the Crayex wheel, just like we did to the other side, and I think we're done. Thanks for watching.